It is a rainy day here in Berlin, and we are in the coziest place we could possibly be. This little corner in my room. I finally have it set up the way that I want. I'm so happy with it. I feel like it's still lacking a little something, you know, there could be some art on the walls, you know, a little lamp or something like that, but, you know, we got this little side table and a cup of tea going, so truly, can't nobody tell me shit today. The grand reveal, today's study method is storytelling. I feel like it is such an underrated activity or method when talking about language learning. Literally just pick a story or a situation from your life and learn how to talk about it. Sit in front of a camera and talk about it. Storytelling, it combines literally every skill you could possibly want to learn or practice in a target language. There's vocabulary, like you have to know the words to tell a story, speaking confidence, pronunciation, grammar structure. Like, I feel like it's just the perfect catch-all activity that if you just want to generally improve, just feel like you're doing something productive and getting better, tell a story from your life. So I'm gonna walk you through all the steps of how to do it and how to get the most out of it. Oh, look, that's you. And while you might be thinking, oh, this activity isn't like beginner friendly, Elysse, I'm not comfortable speaking yet. Well, first of all, you're never gonna get comfortable speaking if you don't speak. Second of all, there is a way to make this activity a bit more beginner friendly. Like, if you don't know the words that you need to tell the story, you can just look up, you know, a list of like maybe 10 words that you'll expect yourself to use beforehand. And then, yeah, you won't be so like, oh God, I don't know this word, I don't know this word. So let me just dive right in. First of all, how are you? Forgot to ask. So the first, like, most important thing with storytelling is that you record it. I feel like you get any speaking practice is good. Talking to yourself is just a great activity in general, but if you record it, then you can watch it back after and actually, you know, take notes on what things to improve. There is no set time or amount I want to speak for. I just, you know, I have a list of like stories. I'll actually show you. So I have like a list of stories or just funny situations or anything that I could talk about or could possibly end up talking about in like a real life conversation. I don't have any specific time also that I record myself for. I just record myself speaking until I run out of things to say. Yeah, I just tell the story or talk about the thing from start to finish. I'm just gonna pick one here. How about the story about how me and my boyfriend met? Because I was talking in Self-Taught Polyglot, my Patreon/Discord community last night. I was at our speaking practice hours and I was talking to someone about dating apps and, you know, how that kind of has affected our society and the way that young people date and see dating. And so I was like, that's a really good topic. I should revisit that. I'm scared. I feel like I never do this with an audience, and I'm like, let me have a little. This is my liquid courage. There's something about bag tea that's just so disappointing, y'all. Like, I'm dating a Persian. You know they don't play about that fucking samovar. Like, no. Once you go with the samovar, you can never. Well, okay. Evidently, we have gone back. Okay, let's see how long I can talk about this for. It's like Mario Kart. Listen. Hi, also ich werde dir heute erzählen, wie ich meinen Freund kennengelernt habe. Ich hatte letztens meine Beziehung mit meinem Ex beendet. Zweiten Tag, nachdem ich mich in meiner Wohnung eingelebt habe, habe ich Hinge gedownloadet. Also ich habe den ersten Schritt genommen. Ich denke, das war die größte Sache, die mich zu ihm hingezogen hat, dass er mehrere Sprachen konnte. Ja, aber ich denke, ich schäme mich ein bisschen, wenn ich sagen muss, dass wir uns auf dem Dating-App kennengelernt haben. Aber ja, ich denke, es ist heutzutage sehr normal. Aber ich habe noch ein bisschen Beef damit, also mit Dating-Apps. Hat man immer so den Eindruck, also im Hinterkopf, dass zum Beispiel ich kann immer jemand Besseres finden. Es bringt uns daran, uns ein bisschen zurückzuhalten vielleicht in einer Beziehung. Und ich hasse, dass es creepy geworden ist, einfach zu einer Person zu kommen und zu reden, weil das immer noch ein sehr, sehr normales Verhalten ist, würde ich sagen. Vor 50 Jahren oder so war das die häufigste Weg, jemand kennenzulernen und zu daten, ne? See, I feel like that went really well. I normally don't be speaking German like that. I was slinging you guys. But I'm only realizing just now, because I did French yesterday, I'm only realizing how different my speaking skills in German and French are. Holy shit. I wonder what the reason for that is. Maybe because I never speak French. Love that for me. Oh, do you guys want to see this really cute coaster? We got this at the Flohmarkt im Mauerpark. Fun fact about me is I always forget the word coaster in English because we really didn't use coasters in my house growing up. Yeah, sorry, I'm a raggedy ass bitch, but you know, we were poor, so I think our priority was not coasters. It was, you know, surviving. I can never remember it and I always say cup holders. Because what is it doing? It's holding the cup, exactly, okay. So the next step after I record myself speaking, I literally just watch it back, and now I'm going to take notes on what I could improve. Any times where there was like a word I didn't know, or if when I'm watching it, it occurs to me like there's something better that I could say in that moment, I write it down. So that's the first step. And then after I take all the notes, then I, just do all the research, look in like word reference, DeepL, sometimes ChatGPT kill me, to find like the best translations or the best expressions for what I was trying to say. So I'm going through the video and just writing down things that I didn't know how to say in the moment, like to be on my own. That's an example of an expression that I didn't know. Also, things that I said in German that I'm not sure are correct, like nach Chicago ziehen, to move to Chicago. Like I wasn't sure if nach was the right preposition to use, but it was. And most of these things I was checking on the DeepL translator, and anything else I just translated idiomatically with ChatGPT, which is not shown in this video, but I did. And yes, I just have a giant list of German vocabulary in my notes. These are words that I add to my flashcards. So my favorite things that I wrote down are Der Rest ist Geschichte, the rest is history. It's very literal translation. I learned how to say anyways, like when you're telling a story anyways, you can say jedenfalls, and so much vocab about dating. Of course, den ersten Schritt machen, to make the first move. Zur Sprache kommen, also wenn das Thema zur Sprache kommt, when the topic comes up. Oh, and I learned some different ways to express attraction, which is fun. So attraktiv, I already knew this word, it means attractive, but I also learned anziehend, like it's pulling, literally, and it comes from the verb anziehen, like literally, it means to attract. But there's also the word hinziehen, so I was like exploring with ChatGPT the different ways that those work and what the different nuance is. So hinziehen is more like something draws you in, or like, draws you to someone. But the annoying thing is that they use different prepositions. So for example, with anziehen, you have to say, es hat mich an ihm angezogen, an ihm. But with hinziehen, it's, es hat mich zu ihm hingezogen. Also, this is just the shit where I'm like, it's like that scene from The Devil Wears Prada where he's like, sometimes I can't believe I talk about this shit all day.
Sometimes I can't believe I talk about this crap all day.
Like, literally. So you might be asking, Elysse, do you make flashcards out of all of these words? Are you trying to memorize every single one of these? I don't know. So I just use good old Quizlet. I don't know if you're a Quizlet, Anki, Memorize fan. Anki? Anki? Aggie is what it is. I don't like it. Ugly. Call me insane, but I care about user interface. Kill me. I put both sides in German, so I'm at this point in my German, I don't need to be equating anything to English. I just want to learn synonyms. I want to learn multiple ways to express things, and so making a flashcard with German on the other side is like a good way to connect different pieces of information to each other. You know, there comes a time in your language learning where you got to give up the flashcards completely. I don't know if we're at that point, but we are at the point where I need to stop putting English on stuff. Learning expressions like these, like that you use in everyday real speech. That's why I was saying that storytelling is such a good medium for learning how to talk. Like, just sit down, try to say stuff. If you don't know how to say it, jot it down, figure it out. I feel like I'm becoming myself in a way in the language. I'm like learning how to talk like myself. So now that I have added 34 new terms to my flashcards, I'm going to review them tomorrow, but so the last step in this whole storytelling ritual activity process is to retell the story. And the goal there is not to tell the story perfectly or to make zero mistakes. It's more so to just be like a little bit better and maybe use some of the expressions and the new vocab that I had the chance to look up. Now you might be thinking, Elysse, is this taking you long as f? Listen, it might. Usually I'm not doing it all in one sitting like this. I'm only doing it this way to like demonstrate it to you. Usually the way I do it is like I tell the story one day and then the next day I listen back to it and write down the notes. The next day I actually make the flashcards and then the next day I do like the retelling. So let's retell this story. I'm scared. Get ready. Ich war gerade aus einer Beziehung raus. Ich war nicht auf der Partnersuche sozusagen. Ich wollte keinen neuen Freund haben. Ja, ich habe den ersten Schritt gemacht. Ich habe ihm geschrieben, wochenlang geredet, weil einfach, ich denke, wir waren beide so beschäftigt und deswegen konnten wir. Ich schäme mich ein ganz bisschen, wenn ich sagen muss immer, dass wir über eine Dating-App kennengelernt haben. Also wenn wir unterwegs mit Freunden sind oder so und das Thema zur Sprache kommt, dass Dating-Apps so viele negative Konsequenzen auf unsere Gesellschaft gehabt haben. Zum Beispiel, ich denke, das beeinflusst uns zu denken, dass es immer da draußen jemanden Besseren gibt, zum Beispiel. Ich denke, das hält uns zurück, vielleicht ein bisschen. Also, dass wir auf eine Beziehung nicht festlegen müssen, weil wir können immer was anderes finden einfach. 9 minutes and 54 seconds. We were able to shave my yapping down just a little bit. So yeah, I feel like this is the best, most effective way to improve your speaking when you're just a solo learner like me. This is literally what I was doing on my own when I learned my first language, and I still do this today over 10 years later. Oh my god, I'm old. I'm only 25, give me a chance. No, but literally. Why does aging when you're a girl feel like a death sentence? Anyways, I hope this video helped you. Let me know if you have any other questions about this process or this little method in the comments, and I will try to answer. Danke, tschüss. Remember to eat some vegetables today.